through. My mic is unmuted. How could I have done this so soon? Hello everybody, welcome back to more video game, name of which is, what are you called again? 428 Shibuya Scramble. Last time we exploded the world and with Tama inside of it, but Tama escaped and she got better, but that was still a bad end. This time, however, we're gonna try to prevent that. So wait, no, that's not what I want. Wait, give me the time chart. Tama wound up as the prime suspect in an apparent terrorist bombing. If the buyer had shown up earlier, Tama's argument with the sales clerk might never have happened, to say nothing of the rest. Oh. As a matter of fact, the buyer was just outside the shop at the critical moment. She was held up when she happened to run into someone. That someone's actions at 1:05 p.m. for you Yanks are the key to changing Tama's fate. Sorry if I burp. I just chugged a fucking liquid death. So let's actually start off on Osawa. I don't deserve to be forgiven for what I've done. We may have both done the same thing, but my motives, those were different. And so I don't regret what I did. And yet, if someone were to ask if there was some small part of me that wanted to see the results of my research, I could not deny it. I get a little throat thing. These do smell exactly like weed. What the fuck? Osawa grabbed his shoes from the entryway, then headed for the back door. He didn't want the detectives in his living room to know he was going to meet with Makino. That pest Kajiwara was nowhere in sight. Now was his chance to slip away. Gotcha! Jesus fucking Christ. Speak of the devil, Kajiwara had snuck up behind him. You motherfucker, that is like... You look like a fucking troll face. You look like a rage face. With all those creases. Your face is rendered with DLSS 5. With that amount of creases. You look like you're from the True Lies 4K remaster. Are you going out? The detective said. Asked. Ah, no. I was just... Osawa felt something inside his shoe. Glancing down, he saw a rubber duck stuffed inside it. Is this your doing? I laid a booby trap, or rather, a ducky trap. A Originally a type of lethal trap used during wartime to catch clumsy or unwary soldiers, boobies. In modern parlance, however, the term frequently signifies a harmless prank, such as setting a blackboard eraser atop a classroom door. Eraser atop a classroom door so that it falls onto the head of whoever opens the door. Kajiwara beamed with self-satisfaction. You know, you act like a grade schooler, Osawa said. Indeed, sir. I am a grown man with a youthful heart. Leave it to Kajiwara to yet again miss the point entirely. With a sigh, Osawa tossed the duck at him. Kajiwara caught it nimbly in one hand, then stuffed it right into his pocket. I won't tell you that you aren't allowed to leave, sir. All I ask is that you tell me where you've been, and where you plan on going. My work is highly confidential. I'm not at liberty to discuss anything about... Please try to work with me on this, sir. Kajiwara interrupted. He leaned in uncomfortably close. Do you recall what I said before? About how I'd appreciate if you didn't keep secrets from me? Osawa hesitated, inwardly debating how much he should share. I'll just tell him. You decided to tell the truth. Alright, I'll tell you. Just leave me in peace. One of my colleagues is waiting for me outside. Who is it? Yes, he manages to find a way to bring the concept of hammer space into a visual novel. I'm sorry. That's all I can say. Could you tell me a bit about what you'll be discussing? Kajiwara leaned in even closer. His eyes twinkled with suspicion. I can't share corporate secrets, detective. Like how you don't tell me anything about the state of your investigation. It goes both ways. It might have been childish reasoning, but it worked on Kajiwara. All right, the detective said. In that case, I have just one condition. Please, take this with you. I love Osawa's face all the time. He just looks so fucking dumb with life. He just looks like I'm so fucking scared, and like just so fucking like he's like Eeyore in that way. He produced something that looked like a small transceiver from inside his coat pocket. What's this? It's a bug tracker, sir. It'll beep in response to... Bug tracker! Like it's funny because at the time that I am playing this, I'm also watching Wooly and Reggie play through Ace Attorney Justice for All, and they got to the case with the bug tracker. I won't have to do any searching unlike panels with this, I don't think. That's funny. I'm just going to meet someone from work. I don't need this. He pushed Kajiwara's hand aside and the bug tracker fell onto the floor. Mr. Osawa, you mustn't underestimate the lengths to which these kidnappers might go. For once, the detective's face was all seriousness. All right, fine. Osawa snatched up to the device and headed out the door. Makino's car was parked out front. A driver stood alongside it. Osawa exchanged a wordless greeting with him then got into the back. He found Makino reclining in one of the luxurious leather seats. Now then, Makino said, what did you want to ask me about? Lighting a cigar, he glanced sidelong at Osawa. I was hoping you could explain the situation to me, sir. Which situation would that be? So he was still going to beat around the bush, even now. Osawa suppressed an urge to shout at him. Are you the one who let the antiviral out of the lab, sir? Yes. That was me. Makino didn't bat an eyelid. So why had he been so coy a few moments earlier? But how? The fingerprint authentication system is almost unbreakable. Getting access to the storage area would... Trailed off as a thought suddenly occurred to him. It was not strictly true that fingerprint authentication was the only means of entry. Osawa and Tanaka had both set up passwords as a failsafe in case an injured fingertip somehow prevented them from operating the scanner properly. These passwords were 10-character alphanumeric strings. No one could just haphazardly fumble their way in. Could Makino have sent a request to the electronic locks manufacturer and asked them to unlock it then? No. That required the approval of 6 board members, and Osawa was one of those 6 people. There really seemed to be no way of getting in without leaving any trace. Unless you're a super hacker man. You're absolutely right, of course, Makino said with a grin, as if reading his thought. I couldn't gain access to the lab without you and Tanaka, but I didn't have to. He exhaled a large plume of smoke. You remember when we released the samples for animal testing? No, it couldn't be. Osawa broke out in a sweat. Ah, but it could, Makino said. I had them divert some of the samples intended for animal testing. Naturally, that didn't leave any record of anything being taken from the lab. Osawa bit his lip hard. He couldn't help but feel betrayed by his company. But why? Makino let out a nasal one-note chuckle. You don't seem to grasp just how valuable this thing really is. What do you mean by that, sir? Makino lowered his voice. There's a major world power out there that has already weaponed the UA virus. For a moment, Osawa thought this was just a sick joke, but the look on Makino's face told him otherwise. I've been informed that it was recently used on a military installation in the Middle East. Within 12 hours of dispersal, there were at least 800 casualties. If you include civilians, the number jumps to over 2,000. Any evidence of the disease and the bomb that delivered it has, of course, been covered up. Osawa listened in amazement, his outrage that any government would commit such an atrocity not quite suppressing his excitement at discovering the virus could be propagated by explosive means. He felt a flush of guilt at his own fascination. The antiviral you created, Osawa, has the potential to render this weapon useless. Right now, Okoshi Pharmaceutical possesses the sole means to combat UA. Makino's lips curled into a boastful grin. Any number of countries would love to get their hands on it. The major power in question has offered an unprecedented sum. And that's hardly a surprise. Having a monopoly on the antiviral makes the weapon itself that much more valuable. To Osawa, this was a glimpse into another terrifying world, one he had barely imagined previously. And so you wanted to get human testing over with as soon as possible. Is that it? He spat. Makino shrugged. I explained full well to the locals what the risks of experimentation were, and they were paid in accordance with said risks. They willingly consented to infection with the UA virus. Sophistry, Osawa huffed. Nothing more. You used money to deceive a bunch of poor farmers. Come on, Osawa. Who's being disingenuous now? Makino eyed him with contempt and let out another puff of smoke. I know you, Osawa, and I know you're not really concerned for some bunch of hick farmers. All you care about is your research. The thing that's really nagging you right now is that someone went ahead and did the final clinicals without you. Oh, spare me the ridicule, sir. As a virologist, I have a moral duty to... To what? Makino barked. Go to the media with this? Do you have any idea how much money the company has thrown at your lab to keep it up and running? Osawa's lab has incurred expenses of roughly 30 billion yen in developing the antiviral medication. Okoshi Pharmaceuticals spends approximately 200 billion yen per year on research and development. Osawa's work is the single most costly element of that budget. Osawa gaped. I do appreciate all the company has done for me, sir. He spoke so quietly that his voice was nearly inaudible. In any event, Makino said, now that you know about the human testing, I can't let you go to America. How do you know about that? He'd insisted that I keep his planned relocation a secret, but apparently she'd told her father regardless. If you insist on making the move anyway, I'll use any means necessary to stop you. Makino regarded Osawa with a bloodshot gaze. Any means necessary? Osawa swallowed the lump in his throat. Sir, you don't mean that my daughter's kidnapping was... Don't be ridiculous, Makino said before Osawa could finish. Of course that wasn't me. Nevertheless, I'll do what I'm... That blimp is full of UA virus. I just had that revelation a second time. I feel like that blimp is going to be through UA virus. It's going to be filled with the virus. Nevertheless, I'll do what I must to keep you in line. Remember that. Understood, sir. I'll turn down the U.S. job offer. Osawa heard his own voice like the thin drone of any tiny insect. He felt utterly powerless. I can't simply take your word on that, Makino said. Do it now. I want to hear you do it myself. He jutted his jaw toward the phone in the back seat console. All right, Osawa said. He had no choice but to fall in line. Yeah, no, I guess another point is that I love his facial expressions in contrast to the literal cartoon that is Kajiwara. It would be around 10 p.m. local time for the American firm. He decided to call his contact's personal phone. The headhunter was shocked to hear that Osawa wanted to decline the position. When he pressed for the reasons behind the decision, Osawa hung up. Visibly relieved, Makino lit up a fresh cigar. Sir, there's one thing I don't understand. And what's that? Osawa's head was feeling fuzzy. The smoke inside the vehicle had gotten extremely thick. If someone has this top secret information, why wouldn't they threaten the company as a whole? Why send those emails to me personally? I'm not sure. There's an internal investigation already underway. We'll find the source of the leak soon enough. At this point, though, Osawa wasn't sure knowing who originally leaked the info mattered much at all to him. If you'll beg my pardon then, sir, Osawa said. He put his hand on the door handle. A sudden, high-pitched chirp sounded from his pocket. The bug tracker Kajiwara had given him had picked up a signal. Is that your cell? Makino asked. Ah, oh, yes, that's mine. He hurriedly hopped out of the car and reached into his pocket. Is everything all right, sir? Wait, is everything all right, sir? The driver was still waiting outside the car. He leaned toward Osawa, looking concerned. Was it you? Osawa stepped close to the driver. Hmm? Did you send me those emails? What? What are you talking about, sir? Don't play dumb with me, Osawa said. You're the only person who could have planted a listening device on a company car. Listening device? The driver raised an eyebrow in confusion. What are you after? Sir, what are you talking about? Who told you to do it? Tell me! The driver fled back into the car. Osawa clutched the bug tracker hard as he watched the vehicle pull away. He went back to his house, still gripped by confusion, to find Ai waiting in the entryway. She must have gotten home while he was out. You were with my father, weren't you? You were with my father, weren't you? She sneered at Osawa as he slipped off his shoes. Yes, I was, he replied, and it's over. What's over? He knows damn well what. He struggled to contain his irritation. America, I'm not going, he huffed. Oh, really? Well, that is good news. She sounded sincerely pleased. Yeah. Maybe a little more pleased than Osawa cared for. I need to finish up some work things, he mumbled. He hurried to his study up on the second floor. He threw himself down in front of his computer. There hadn't been any progress on the investigation as usual. Just how long was this all going to go on for? Were all kidnapping cases this drawn out? Specialized victim support team belonging to the Special Criminal Investigation Unit has been deployed at Osawa's house. The members of his team are all specialists who have received training in such skills as negotiation, high-speed motorcycle and automobile driving, running phone traces, special communications, and phone records acquisitions. Osawa was growing more and more uneasy. He could barely contain himself at this point. Wasn't there something, anything that he could do? He glanced over at his monitor. That's an idea. He could look up kidnapping investigations on the internet. That might give him some insight onto the current situation. Kidnapping. Police investigations. Hostages. He typed the 3 keywords into the search field. The engine pulled over 100,000 hits. He scanned the beginning of the list for anything that might be useful. One of the site links caught his eye. How the police do it! It looked like a page containing information on various types of police cases. He clicked on the link for kidnapping cases and began to read. Even if the hostage wound up safe in the end, the site informed him the police lost face if the culprit got away. And if the hostage were killed and the kidnapper evaded capture, the media would have a field day. This made apprehending the suspect an absolute necessity. Even if a person's life was on the line, when it came to a kidnapping case, the police prioritized making the arrest. Taking his hand off the mouse, Osawa sat back and thought. He wasn't going to be able to relax until he heard Maria's voice again. But if the police prioritized arresting the suspect, why were they just letting things stay in limbo now? Didn't they have the crooks under surveillance? He couldn't wrap his head around that. The internet hadn't been able to give him the info he'd hoped for after all. Unable to do anything for Maria but wait, he turned his thoughts to how his opportunity to transfer to the US had passed him by. The research facilities in America would have been top tier. Some part of him still couldn't quite accept what had happened. He stole a quick look back at the door, then surfed to the Aya Kamiki fan community for people 40 and over. Whenever something was weighing on his mind, posting to these forums seemed to turn his mood back around. He knew that now wasn't really the time to be doing this, but he needed to do something to calm and quiet his mind. He started a new forum topic. In the title field, he wrote, Aya Kamiki expanding into the US. With Aya Kamiki still at the height of her popularity, does anyone else think it would be exciting if she ventured into the American market? I know I would. She's not the sort of artist who deserves to be confined to Japan. She should be recording at an American studio staffed by the industry's best. Using a pop star to stand in for his own life. That's very clever. I'd love to see her career really take off over there. He wound up getting into a little back and forth with himself. Hopefully, he'd get a response from someone else soon. A sudden shrill noise startled him so much that he nearly cried out. His heart fluttered like that of a young child who'd been caught in some prank. Realizing that the sound was coming from the bug tracker, he pulled it from his pocket and took a few breaths to steady himself. Evidently, someone had bugged his study as well. Tracker in hand, he walked towards the center of the room. What direction was the signal coming from? He tried heading over toward the window. Here, maybe? Next, he headed over to his desk. Here, too? The bug tracker was picking up signals from all over the room. Have there been that many listening devices planted in here? Mr. Osawa? It's Kajiwara. Ah, perfect timing. Osawa hurried to let the detective into the study. The bug tracker's picking up signals. Oh? Yes, from all over the room. What should I do? Mr. Osawa, please calm down. As if that's even possible right now. Feels like there must be 10, no, maybe 100 listening devices in here. Kajiwara didn't miss a beat. Let me be honest with you. That bug tracker is broken. What? Osawa was dumbfounded. Broken? But this is the one I got from you, right? Well, yes. But mine isn't detecting anything. Kajiwara produced an identical bug tracker from his pocket. And, as he said, it wasn't getting any signal. As I recall, Mr. Osawa, that one was dropped on the floor when I was trying to hand it to you. Ah, yes, that's right. That must have been when it broke, sir. The strength ebbed from Osawa's body. He didn't even have the mental energy to be angry anymore. He gave the tracker a whack with the palm of his hand and the beeping stopped. Right, he said. What can I do for you? Kajiwara clapped his hands together as if he just remembered something. Ah, right. We have a big problem. The toilet again? Osawa sighed. No, it's not that. Something worse. Kajiwara's face turned grim. Something worse? Had something happened to Maria? He needed to hear the detective out. What is it? Osawa asked. Go on, tell me. He did his best to remain composed. Well, you see, we ordered lunches for everyone, and it looked like there were 2 still left over. So I wound up eating them. There was an awkward pause. Osawa didn't have the foggiest idea of how to respond. My deepest apologies, sir. My deepest apologies, sir. I ate the lunches intended for you and your wife. Osawa bowed profusely. And I really do need to apologize. They were tonkatsu bento boxes. They were delicious. The meat was so tender, and the batter so crisp. With each and every bite, the rich flavor just filled my mouth more and more. Osawa felt a blood vessel burst in his skull. Listen, you. Get your goddamn act together, or... He didn't get to finish that thought. Pathetic little gurgle sounded from his stomach. Ah, I see, Kajiwara said. You are hungry. He fussed sheepishly with his hair. At the talk of food, Osawa realized abruptly that he hadn't eaten anything since the night before. Shall I make something for you? The detective asked. This is all my fault, after all. You can cook? Osawa wasn't really sure how thrilled he was with the idea of Kajiwara helping him. You mustn't judge people based on outward appearances, Mr. Osawa. All right, fine. Go ahead, then. His newfound hunger was making it hard for him to think. It would certainly behoove him to eat something. He led Kajiwara to the kitchen. What's with that getup? Wearing an apron in the kitchen is a must, sir. The cartoon character printed on the apron Kajiwara is wearing is one of his own design. It is modeled after the MPD's mascot. His name is Pinpo-kun. Pinpo-kun. Alas, it isn't while I'm naked. Naked? Oh, are you not familiar with the concept of the naked apron? The state of being entirely naked save for an apron, a form of cosplay. The views from the front, rear, and sides all offer a certain appeal, but caution must be advised as it may be difficult to stop arguing about which presents the loveliest sight once the topic is raised. There are similar, more sexualized naked styles as well, such as the naked sock, the naked shoe, the naked necktie, the naked ribbon, the naked scarf, naked collar, and so forth. You're forgetting the naked gun. I could demonstrate if you like. No, that's quite all right. Where'd you get that apron anyway? It's mine, sir. You had it with you this whole time? Yes, in here. Brother. Oh my god. With a smile, Kajiwara pointed to his pocket. Of course. Osawa eased himself into a chair. His hunger was making him feel weak, and Kajiwara was making him feel like he was losing his mind. Oh, this is bad, the detective said. I need to whip something up for you fast. Something's definitely wrong if you don't even have a comeback. Osawa felt his anxiety mounting. Just what sort of food was this insufferable oaf going to make anyway? Probably nothing worth eating was his bet. For now, he'd just have to pray he wound up with something edible. Kajiwara peered into the refrigerator. Goodness, you are remarkably understocked, he said. Let's see. Could you please put these in the dinger, Mr. Osawa? Named for the sound a microwave oven makes when it has finished heating your food. The microwave at my house doesn't really go ding when the timer reaches 0. It's more just a beep, but it doesn't make sense to call a microwave a beeper when that's already a word that refers to something else. This reminds me, because there was this clip from Momo Suzune where she was playing that Japanese learning game where you take photographs. And so the microwave in Japan, the proper name for it is denshi renji, which, you know, that's a long word. An easier way to say microwave in Japanese is chin, because that's the sound it makes. And then she said, you know, 1 chin, that's good. That means microwave. 2 chin, chin, that's dangerous. Don't say that. Don't say that willy-nilly. Don't say chin willy-nilly. No. Maybe. I don't know. Don't. Willy-nilly. Fuck. Anyway. The detective handed Osawa some frozen lumps of rice. The dinger? What the heck is a dinger? They're microwave ovens, sir. Osawa stepped in front of the microwave. Unfortunately, he had no idea how to work the controls. You should thaw that rice out as soon as possible, Kajiwara told him. I'm actually not sure how to operate this thing. What? The detective gasped. You don't know how to use a microwave? Osawa could only nod in silent shame. It should just be as simple as turning the dial. Wait, which one? That one, sir. The one on the right. Osawa turned the dial, then crossed his arms with a satisfied grin. Mr. Osawa, you need to put the rice in before you do that. Well, then why didn't you say that? Osawa snapped. I've never worked in a kitchen in my life. Don't ask me to do things that are this difficult. Very well. I'll handle this from here. Why don't you get out the bowls and the chopsticks then, sir? I have no idea where the hell those are kept. Kajiwara let out a heavy sigh. Alright then, please just wait. Just sit and wait, sir, he said. And here, take this. Kajiwara pulled out a sheet of bubble wrap from his pocket. Use your fingers to pop the bubbles. That should help you calm down. Too drained to argue, Osawa did as prompted, starting to pop his way along the sheet. Oh my god. Rather than calm him down, though, it was making him incredibly cross. This felt more like a sort of ridiculous punishment. They say you can learn a lot about a household by looking in the fridge, you know? Kajiwara was cooking something in a frying pan. And? Osawa asked. Just what have you learned about mine? I'd better not say, sir. You might take offense. Osawa snapped another bubble between his fingers. Ah, the rice is finished thawing. Kajiwara topped the steaming bowl of rice with the fried egg he'd whipped up in his pan. Then, as if it were an afterthought, he'd added some pickled vegetables. There you are. Your fried egg on rice is complete. One of Kajiwara's simple recipes. Others include his white spaghetti, which is simply spaghetti that's been flavored with butter, salt, and pepper after it's been boiled. Both are a bit too basic to be properly called cuisine, but it does take a certain skill to bring the best flavor out of the ingredients with such simple seasonings. Kajiwara grinned from ear to ear. Go ahead and eat it while it's still warm. Yeah, eggs on rice are good. Eggs on any sort of, like, carb are good. Osawa received the bowl with a dubious look. You aren't very good at cooking, are you? He said. Wait, you aren't very good at cooking, are you? All you had in your refrigerator were eggs and pickled vegetables, sir. I assure you it's quite delicious. I recommend breaking the yolk and mixing it all together. Reluctantly, Osawa brought a bite to his mouth. That's good. His face. This guy is so fucking cunty. The words came out almost unbidden. Isn't it just? Egg yolk and pickled vegetables pair quite well. Osawa couldn't help but stuff his face, slipping into a rapturous daze as he did. The more he ate, the more it stirred his appetite. I had no idea fried eggs could be this delicious. I know you probably have a long ordeal still ahead of you, sir, but please keep your chin up and hang in there. Kajiwara gave Osawa an admirable smile. Ah, that's right, he continued. And for dessert, we have bananas. No thank you. Kajiwara grimaced as Osawa held up a hand in refusal. Right then. When you're finished eating, would you please wash the bowl? Me? Wash dishes? Osawa exclaimed in surprise, sounding like a petulant child. If someone cooks for you, you should do the cleaning up. It's only polite. Fine, okay. While Osawa was doing the dishes, the bug detector went off again. Director, if you have a moment. Tanaka poked his head into the kitchen. I've got something urgent to discuss with you. Keep out? I could sense that keep out coming from a mile away. How far are we into his That's decently far. Holy shit. I guess let's see what Achi is up to. The man with the cane crooked his finger on the trigger. Achi stepped in front of Hitomi, shielding her with his body. If you want to shoot her, you have to shoot through me too. Suddenly, the assassin's head jerked forward. What the fuck? He pitched face first onto the pavement and lay still, revealing a foreign man standing behind him. Oh, you're creepy. You're creepy as shit. In one hand, the stranger clutched a metal pipe. Hitomi. Yeah, I recognize him. He's the original guy. Hitomi, Achi asked. You know that guy? Hitomi's eyes went wide. That's the man from the Scramble. The one who told me to go to the van. Wait, one of the kidnappers? Why would he help us? I'm not sure. The newcomer fixed his eyes on It's not Anton Chigurh, okay? It's not him. He's not gonna call it. He's not gonna ask us to call it. The newcomer fixed his eyes on Achi. Hey man, Achi approached the stranger. I'm not sure what's going on here, but thanks for the assist. Whoa! The man took a sudden swing with his pipe. Achi barely managed to dodge out of the way. What the hell? Once again, Achi made sure Hitomi was safely behind him. I guess I gotta let my fists do the talking. Achi quickly adopted a fighting stance. Be careful, Hitomi warned, her voice trembling. Don't worry, it's just a pipe. I'll just snatch it away from him and make him tell us where your sister is. Achi judged the distance between them as he stared his opponent down. The metal pipe gave this thug considerable reach. One solid hit from that thing and Achi wouldn't stand a chance. He needed to end this in one punch. The crook sized him up for a few moments, then lunged forward to attack. Now! Achi sidestepped to avoid the incoming blow, then delivered a vicious left hook to his adversary's jaw. The man went down hard. Achi gazed at his fallen foe, flexing his knuckles. The thing about guys who bring weapons to fights is they always let themselves get too cocky. Skull. He looked the guy over. The man had a tattoo peeking from one of his ratty sleeves. Come on, buddy, you can't just clock out. You can't clock out just yet, Achi said. Get up, I've got a few questions for you. He knelt down to grab the man by his collar. Halfway to his feet, the man pulled a gun from his breast pocket. Whoa! Didn't know you were packing heat. Achi took a quick step backward. The man's eyes brimmed with rage. He looked ready to pull the trigger at any moment, but he didn't get the chance. The man with the cane had regained consciousness, back on his feet. He trained his own gun on the foreigner. The foreigner quickly shifted his attention to the other gunman. Oh no, you don't! Achi darted forward and kicked the kidnapper in the hand as hard as he could. The gun went flying from his grasp. With a low snarl, the man took up the metal pipe again. Rather than go for Achi, however, he charged the man with the cane. What the? Achi watched in astonishment as the two men grappled. Now's our chance! Grabbing Hitomi by the hand, Achi broke into a run. They ran for a long time, finally stopping to rest in a quiet municipal park. As they sat catching their breath, Achi sensed a new tension in Hitomi. She hadn't said a word since their latest escape. She has to die, Achi. It's for your own good. In his mind, Achi replayed what the man with the cane had said. So, Hitomi, Achi hesitated. About what happened back there. Yeah? She sounded like she'd been far gone in her own thoughts. You gotta believe me. I have no idea who that guy was. Never seen him before in my life. He must have been saying that stuff to confuse us, to trip us up. Yeah? Hitomi said again. Is that what's been bothering you? Huh? Now it was Achi's turn to go monosyllabic. Well, Achi, you're kind of famous around Shibuya, right? I don't know about that. Way back when he'd been the leader of SOS. Nowadays he was just some guy who picked up trash. That was nothing to brag about. When someone's famous, it's not unusual for someone to recognize them and know their name. So yeah, I was surprised back there, but no matter what that man may have said, I trust you. I mean, look at how many times you put yourself in danger to protect me. Tommy sounded pretty resolute. Achi was glad that she believed him, but that raised another question. So then, how come you've been so quiet? I've just been thinking about things. Like what that man from the Scramble might be after. It was true that his actions didn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, he seemed more interested in taking out the man with the cane than going after you. Maybe there's some bad blood between them. Achi let out a little chuckle. We're lucky. Maybe they'll take each other out for us. He felt a rush of relief, reassured that Hitomi didn't doubt his moves. Regardless, though, we have to track down that blue van. The sound of a child's cry came from behind them. Turning to look, they saw the kidnapper rushing towards them. He had knocked over a little girl who... Fuck you. No rest for the weary, Achi sighed. Yet again, he and Hitomi sprinted away. Do you think he took out the guy with the cane? Hitomi's... Wait, do you think he took out the guy with the cane? Hitomi's words came between panting huffs. Maybe. Achi glanced back at their pursuer. What? There was someone else with him. Now they were being chased down by 2 foreigners. I like this better when we were just running from one guy with a cane. In a one-on-one fight, Achi was confident he could keep Hitomi safe. 1-on-2, though, that was a different story. One guy might get a hold of her while he was facing off against the other. He had to make sure they lost these creeps, no matter what. Oh my god, another keep out. Fuck me, I guess. In a bit of desperation, let's see what Minorikawa's up to. Right! Left! Minorikawa sprinted down Center Guy, dodging between oncoming pedestrians. Out of my way! Can't you people see I'm in a hurry? He stole a glimpse at his watch as he ran. It was just after 1 o'clock. The Burning Hammer sales demo would be getting underway any moment now. He could probably get an interview if he showed up. Even if he showed up late. Still, he wanted to get to the venue ASAP to get a feel for things before they started. The best time to scope out an event was before it started and after it ended. This was something he'd learned from Toyama. Everything he knew about journalism, the publisher taught him. It had been a combative education. Minorikawa learning despite himself as the two men constantly butted heads. Oh, give me a break. What's wrong with my article? Minorikawa shouted. His voice was loud enough to carry throughout the editing department. Shut up! I told you to rewrite it, so rewrite it! Toyama, sticking to his guns. Minorikawa recalled the scene from the days when the 2 men had worked at the same newspaper, and Toyama was his boss. At the time, Toyama was the copy editor for local news known as the Red Pen Gatekeeper. He would go around checking young reporters' copy like mad. Due to his vigorous effects, a great many articles never made it to the page. What's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? Show me what's wrong. All of it. How can it be all of it? Co-workers stared, keeping their distance as the pair screamed themselves red in the face. These arguments had become a regular occurrence, regular enough that everyone had learned not to try to intervene. I poured my heart and soul into this piece. Go back and read it again. I could read it over and over and it'd still be the same thing. A load of self-important claptrap. Now go calm down and write me a more neutral piece. Taking neither of 2 opposing sides, the media typically seeks to adopt a neutral stance in reporting the news. Frequently, however, biased reporting still results in one-sided thinking taking hold amongst the general public. In the end, it is up to the individual to make an objective assessment of any news event. Calm down. You must be joking. I write what I feel in my heart. That's the one thing I refuse to back down on. Then it's the one thing that'll keep getting your copy rejected. Aren't you the one who told me to be more bold and daring with my writing? Yeah, I did, but I don't remember telling you to write me garbage. By now, Minorikawa and Toyama were practically at each other's throats. Still, despite these almost daily shouting matches, Minorikawa never resented Toyama. Not really. How could he write a piece in a way that would shut up Toyama? Trying to figure that out was how he had developed his skills as a reporter. Up until he quit his position at the newspaper to start his own publishing company, Toyama had been a stubborn old man in the finest sense of the term. Now a dying breed in Japan, the sort who'd be inclined to use knuckles before words to remedy a child's bad behavior, inflexible but still emotionally brittle. Their signature move is to drive a wayward kid out of the house with the explanation, "You fool! You're no son of mine! I disown you!" Only to wait a while, go find the son who's crying down by the dry riverbed and calmly murmur, "Come on, your supper's getting cold." But then, in order to keep his company afloat, at some point he had abandoned all his ideals and principles. It was disgraceful. Just disgraceful. Thinking about it made Minorikawa's blood boil. It rankled him to know that such a pathetic remnant of a man had been such an influence on him. He reminded himself once again that he needed to wrap up his current job as soon as possible. By now, Minorikawa was getting close to the demo site. He increased his speed. He wound up barreling right into someone who was walking into a knick-knack shop. Oh. A newly opened general variety store. The place is primarily a second-hand shop, with posters inside proclaiming things like, "We'll take what you don't need," and "We buy computers at top prices." It was a girl about high school age. She jumped to her feet, then snatched Minorikawa by the collar. "Hey, watch where you're going!" she snapped. Her upper body strength was impressive, to say the least. The chokehold she had on his neck made it almost impossible for him to breathe. He had to do something fast. Sorry. He bowed his head in apology. He was in too much of a hurry to get caught up in an argument now. But the girl didn't let go. Instead, she tightened her grip. "Look, I'm sorry for not looking where I was going." Minorikawa could barely croak out his apology. "Oh, fine. I'll let this slide once," the girl said. She relaxed her hold with a scowl. "Wait, hold on," she murmured. She stared good and hard at Minorikawa's face. "Hey, you're Mr. Minorikawa!" Surprised, Minorikawa gave her another look. "Miku?" "Yeah! Wow, so you do remember me." She smiled with delight, apparently forgetting that she'd just been wringing his neck. "Wow, how long's it been?" she asked. "About 5 years, I think." "You still doing your bonsai stuff?" "Nah," she replied. "I gave that up." Miku had been Japan's bonsai champion back when she was in middle school. The mention of bonsai likely calls to mind elderly hobbyists, but recently, the art is attracting more young people, as are other aspects of Japanese style interior design. Varieties of cherry and maple, smaller than normal bonsai, are becoming popular with practitioners, as are fruit-bearing trees such as plum-leaf apple. There are even spherical balls of soil covered in moss, shaped to look like cute little miniature planets with plants growing over their surface. One day, local delinquents had vandalized dozens of Miku's bonsai pieces. Minorikawa had met her when he interviewed her about the incident. "I want to get strong," she had said. "Strong enough to beat those guys up." And so Minorikawa had introduced Miku to the acquaintance of his who ran a martial arts dojo. "Well, you've sure gotten strong all right," Minorikawa said. "That's the sort of gal I am." Miku handed him a flyer. It read, "Ladies Mixed Martial Arts Pub Bride." That's a great poster. A show pub that began as a side venture for a group of female mixed martial artist fighters who were facing financial difficulties. There's an octagonal ring inside the pub, and the rules state that anything goes between the young women who fight inside. Customers are able to take in the fights while enjoying their drinks. Present this flyer for a free drink. It's a place where you can watch girls fight in the ring while you have some drinks, Miku said. That sounds pretty fun, actually. Minorikawa could feel himself being pulled in by all of the wrong directions by the prospect. You should come see one of my matches sometime. I'm the reigning champion. Miku beamed with pride. Wait, you're the champion? Yikes, good thing I apologized when I did. In that case, I'll definitely have to swing by sometime soon. Right now I'm in sort of a hurry, though. Oh, sure. Oh, sure, Miku said. Catch you later, then. She headed off into the shop as Minorikawa rushed towards the sales demo. At long last, he arrived at the Nokane building where the event was being held. The wall by the elevator was plastered with posters about Burning Hammer. Get it or regret it. As seen in magazines. 100% weight loss guaranteed. This is blatantly false advertising. The messaging was kind of a mess. It felt like they'd been thrown together at the last minute. Minorikawa avoided the elevator in favor of the stairs, rushing up to the event site on the 3rd floor. Emerging from the stairwell, he saw more posters on the wall pointing the way to the sales demo. He followed the arrows to a room deeper within the building. Opening the door, he saw about 50 chairs, most of them occupied by female attendees. There was a stage set up on the far end of the room, but nobody was on it. It appeared that the event had yet to begin. Minorikawa quickly looked over the crowd. Roughly half the women were somewhat elderly. All of them looked like they could stand to lose some weight. And for some of them, at least, that ship had surely sailed some time ago. The crowd gazed at the stage with rapt anticipation. A beverage that allowed you to eat plenty and still lose weight was definitely an appealing proposition. Could something like that really exist, though? Ah, well. Minorikawa was just going to have to wait and see. He did his best to get his mind into journalism mode. Time passed, but the demo didn't start. The audience began grumbling in frustration. Then a heavyset woman took the stage and gave a little bow. It was the girl from the cafe, the one with the amazing appetite. The audience broke out into applause, their patience finally rewarded. But as everyone leaned forward expectantly, the girl on stage began performing magic tricks. She twiddled a silk hat and pulled a bunch of flowers out from inside it. Sparse applause rose up from the crowd. The young woman immediately went on to perform another trick, and then another. Ta-da! A coin in her hand became 3 coins as she spoke her magic words. She's not very good at this, Minorikawa thought. Though whether she was good or bad wasn't really the issue. He had a tight schedule to keep. This was no time to stand around watching the silly sleight of hand antics. Scanning the room, he spotted a man who looked like he was probably in charge. Minorikawa headed over to him. Hey, you the one running this thing? Well, yes. When's the actual sales demo gonna start? Soon. Very soon. Yep. In how many minutes? You know, soon. I asked for a number. Just, soon. Real soon. This was getting him nowhere. 3 minutes, Minorikawa declared. He held up three fingers to emphasize his point. If this thing doesn't start in 3 minutes, if it doesn't start, then what? I'm going to be heartbroken. He kept his expression blank as an empty slate. Hey now, no need for that, sir. Just settle down. Who doesn't like a silly little magic show now and then? You've got 2 minutes. Hey, a minute can have passed already. 1 minute. Whoa! Just what kind of watch you got there? Tell me why the demo isn't starting. Well, no real reason, really. The man was getting seriously flustered. I just, I wanted folks to see a little magic show first. Nope, try again. 30 seconds left. Okay, all right. What happened is, the required merchandise, What happened to the merchandise? Minorikawa demanded. He gave the guy a dagger stare. Well, it's just, Time's up. What? The man's face went pale. Uh-oh. Let's take a little detour and go into Kano's storyline. Following Kano's directions, Stanley drove toward the crime syndicate's hangout. There was a good chance that this was where Maria was being held. The traffic was practically non-existent, and they made good time. They cruised down Miyama-Suzaka, then past the train station towards Dogonzaka. All the while, the two men stared out the windshield, neither inclined to make conversation. They arrived at the Shinsensho intersection. Take a right here, Kano said. You nervous? Stanley asked as he made the turn. His own tone was calm and level. Kano gave no reply. If this syndicate really was holding Maria hostage up ahead, he and Stanley might wind up putting her in danger by showing up there. If it came down to it, Kano wondered, could he count on the man next to him taking the hostage's safety into account? He doubted it, but there was nothing he could do about that now. Tricky situation. They arrived at the syndicate's hangout sooner than Kano had anticipated. It was a multi-tenant building in Tomigaya, southwest of Yoyogi Park. The ratty building looked like it might come crashing down at any minute. The Black Lodge sign was out front, looked deliberately ominous. Kano knew the place as a bar frequented by expats from various countries, as well as a hotbed of criminal activity. Turning on the red light. Oh. I'll take point, Stanley said. You back me up. He pulled a handgun from his suit pocket. It was a compact Glock, a model frequently used by the FBI or CIA. Glock 17, a semi-automatic pistol developed in Austria for police and military use. Notable for its incorporation of large amounts of polymer, plastic, in its design, a certain Hollywood film included a line of dialogue claiming that the Glock would not show up on airport x-ray machines. But since the gun barrel itself is made of metal, this is assuredly not true. FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation. An American investigative bureau established by the U.S. Department of Justice in 1908 has authority in matters involving crimes that cross state lines, as well as threats to public order, such as espionage and terrorism. Generally speaking, the FBI conducts its activities within the United States. FBI agent. I'm FBI agent Detective Francis York Morgan. But please, call me York. Central Intelligence Agency. One of the principal agencies of the U.S. intelligence community, reporting directly to the Director of National Intelligence. Possessing considerable budgetary resources and a vast network of highly trained personnel, The CIA carries out intelligence gathering and covert operations primarily overseas. In recent years, the organization has been devoted to major efforts to counter terrorism. Also, human trafficking. Never mind. Kano drew his own gun, and the two cautiously made their way inside. They immediately heard some sort of ruckus from beyond a wooden door at the far end of the hall. Please don't let this be what I think it is, Kano thought to himself. Sweat beaded on his hands as he gripped his gun tighter. He heard the sound of glass shattering. Then came the sound of something heavy falling to the floor. Maria! Ignoring Stanley's previous order, Kano rushed ahead and kicked down the door and stepped inside. He walked right into a massacre. There were nearly a dozen bodies sprawled out across the floor. He thought he recognized them all, the men who'd participated in the repeated attaché case handoffs. Each appeared to have been stabbed to death. Had these guys all turned on each other? No, that couldn't have been the case. None of the victims was holding a knife, which meant that whoever had killed them must still be hiding nearby. No sooner had Kano come to his conclusion than he heard a muffled cry behind him. Stanley! The American was sprawled on the floor, face down. Kano rushed over and knelt beside him. Stanley was dead, stabbed through the back. Without an instant's hesitation, Kano stood up again, gun at the ready. He scanned his surroundings, but there was no sign of the killer. That was impossible. Stanley had been killed mere moments ago. Someone had to be here, somewhere. Out of nowhere, he felt someone press the tip of a knife into his neck from behind, right at the base of his skull. How? He hadn't noticed anyone coming up on him. There wasn't even anyone else around. Nobody but the corpses scattered across the floor. Wait. Corpses. Kano hadn't checked them. Hadn't checked to make sure they were all really dead. With his last thought, he realized that had been his fatal mistake. That's the most fucked up bad ending I've seen yet. Alas, there's nothing to be done for poor Kano now. He wasn't prepared for whoever is wielding that knife. Sometimes it's best not to rush things. Kano and Stanley might not have had their run-in with the killer if they'd turned up a bit later. There's someone who can cause a traffic jam at 1310, which should keep these two from meeting such a grisly end. I think it's Tama. So let's read from here. I'm afraid that's already been sold. What? You mean like all of it? Nobody in their right mind could possibly want all of this. Yes, all of it, I'm afraid. Well, I'm not going to roll over that easily. Whether I can earn that extra 20,000 or not hinges on whether I can get this stuff. Please, you've got to help me out. I'm afraid it's out of my hands. Then could you get in touch with the buyer? Tell them I'm willing to negotiate. I suppose that wouldn't be an issue, but actually, would you mind waiting for just a moment? She said she'd be by ASAP. Even as I'm speaking with the sales clerk, a girl wearing a hoodie comes in. She's got a tiny frame and a doe-eyed face. "Hey, I've come to pick up something I've reserved," she says. This must be the customer the clerk was talking about. "Please pardon my intrusion, but would you be willing to let me have these diet drinks?" I bow extra deep, and my costume head wobbles all around. "Wait, what?" "I'll pay you double what they're worth." "No can do. I've never seen this brand before. I'm super curious about it." "Surely you don't need this many, though." "I do. I make my living with my body. This is about how much I'll need." "Oh, wow," the sales clerk interjects. "What sort of work do you do exactly?" "I'm a martial artist. I fight at a place called Bride. Yeah, you might have heard of it. It's one of the more popular hotspots in Shibuya these days." "Oh, I know the place," the sales clerk says, brimming with sudden excitement. "That pub where they have cosplay martial arts competitions, right?" "Hold on, what are we talking about now? What's Bride?" I've seriously never heard of the place. "It's a nightlife spot where ladies cosplay as anime characters, but they fight for real. I've been wanting to check it out, but they've hit their membership cap," the sales clerk explains. "At present, the exclusive bride has already exceeded its allotted number of members and is not accepting new ones. Given the buzz about how both the costumes and the fights are really something to see, memberships that are auctioned off online command quite high prices." "So then, you must be pretty strong, huh?" he says to the girl. "Well, I mean, I may not look it, but I'm the current champion." The girl proudly adopts a fighting stance. "Would you accept a challenge from me?" I asked. "A challenge? If I win, you have to let me have all of this." The girl breaks out into a confident smile. "Do you have any idea who you're dealing with here?" she asks. I intend to find out. "Oh wow," the sales clerk exclaims. "I have just got to see this." I'm glad I have him egging us on. "Well, if you're that set on it, then sure, I'll accept your challenge." Sweet. We've established our terms. This burning hammer may yet be mine. The girl cracks her knuckles, clearly eager for a fight. Gotta win this. Somehow or another, I've got to. I've got to be good at something. Facing off against this fighter is going to show me what I'm made of. I address my opponent. And by challenge, I naturally mean, let's have ourselves a straight-up fight. The girl grins nice and wide, like she'd been waiting to hear me say that. "Okay, you're on. The name's Miku, by the way. Challenge accepted." So this'll cause a traffic jam, I just know. Miku and I march out of the shop on the pavement. We stare each other down. "So, if you win, I'll let you buy the burning hammer," Miku says. "But if I win, I get to keep it and you have to pay for it." What? Isn't that a little unfair? If you don't like it, then it's no fight, no deal. I don't have time to rethink this. Alright. Ready whenever you are. Miku does a little brisk shadow boxing, throwing a repeated 1-2 combination. A training technique for boxing involves practicing strikes, guards, and evasions against an opponent who isn't actually there. Whoa, what's the deal? Something going on? It's a street fight! A number of people pass by, including a businessman, a couple, as well as some pretty gruff-looking fellows, and some of them stop to form a small crowd. Achi Endo and Itomi Isawa, they passed while running away from some mysterious foreigners. And gruff-looking fellows. Asao Ozu and his underling, Yutaro Sagawa, members of the Tenryu Gumi Yakuza Syndicate. The Tenryu Gumi operates a lending firm called Takarada Financing, and these two have been tasked with collecting outstanding debts. They've already collected one from one client today. They next plan on grabbing lunch before heading off to find their next target. The sales demo has already started by now. I don't have time to goof around here. I watch as Miku starts up her footwork. A left jab. She's quick. I can see why she's the champion. Ay-ya! She immediately follows up the jab with a wide right hook. A type of punch. It involves swinging the arm in a wide arc to strike the opponent from the side. In mixed martial arts bouts, it's common to see a fighter continue the momentum of a hook to catch the opponent by the arm, transitioning immediately into a takedown and pin. I jerk aside at the last possible moment and deliver a little sweat to Miku's shoulder. Whoa! She slips off balance and pitches forward. Oh wow, what was that? The crowd has started clamoring. Miku rights herself and gets back into a fighting stance. What the? How? She doesn't seem to know what just happened. Rah! This time I watch as she unleashes a kick with her left leg from a distance. On reflex, I bring up my right hand and adopt a guarding stance. Gotcha! She calls out. It was a feint. There's a visceral whump as a Bro, that's not gonna do anything. You gotta know your opponent. There's a visceral whump as a second kick connects, coming at me from a different angle. Whoa, what gives? My big mascot head serves as the cushion to the blow, to the point I barely feel it. Yeah! She proceeds to unleash a string of additional kicks with her left leg, trying to defeat my fuzzy armor. Eventually, I catch hold of her foot, holding her off balance. I begin to walk her backward, making her hop awkwardly on one leg. Ah! A casual flip of my paw and Miku goes whirling through the air. Whoa! Yeah! The crowd erupts into cheering and applause at the spectacle. Ugh. You're tough. Who the heck are you? As you can see, I am a cat. I am a cat. A wry smile comes to Miku's face. To think a bride competitor would lose in a street fight. Yes. Tama hitting them with the, I can't let you get close. Guess it's time to go back to being an ordinary girl. Today is the day I retire. Ah. Whew. Good match there. Miku clasps my hand firmly. But hey, I'm just glad my last opponent was you. Aww. I hoist up the boxes of the diet drink. So, how much does this come to? I asked the sales clerk. He shakes his head. Oh, don't worry about payment. You've more than earned it with that spectacular display just now. That was really something. Heck, even I'm shocked about what just happened. It's amazing what a little desperation will do for you. So that move you used, that was some Aikijutsu, yeah? A traditional Japanese martial art that emphasizes learning to anticipate. So, obviously Tama knows this form of martial art. But doesn't actually remember learning it. It would that idea, just an idea like a 4-2-8 fighting game, that would just be like a goofy goofy Mortal Kombat, bloodless Mortal Kombat without fatalities. No, there would still be fatalities. They just call them bad ends for the opponents. Learning to anticipate an opponent's first move and instantaneously counterattack. Skilled practitioners can toss and throw opponents with a simple touch. The art predates the development of the more pacifistic Aikido, and so some dangerous techniques still remain. I could just imagine, like, the intro to this being the keep out symbol, but like you know, again for the player, but keep out, because this fight's about to get rough. Huh? Oh, I guess? I tilt my head non-committally. Come on now, no need to be so humble. I'm a martial arts fanatic. I know my moves when I see them. Knick-Knack shop owner, Taisei Yasuda, watches roughly 350 martial arts fights a year. That's basically one a day. He only misses like fucking like 15, 16 per year. He is particularly fond of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And is thinking about studying it himself. There's a dojo he's been eyeing, but he's rather timid and has thus far only waffled non-committally outside the entrance to the place. He can call it whatever he wants if he's letting me have the drinks for free. This is going to be a lifesaver. Is that all the shopping you'll be doing with me today? He asks. Actually, come to think of it, I do have one request, I say. Sure thing. Could you please not sell that necklace there? I promise I'll be back to buy it later. Sure, no problem. The sales clerk gives a deep bow. I did it. I managed to solve my burning hammer problem. Now I've just got to get back to the sales demo. Oh, that must be awfully heavy. Here, why don't you use that dolly? The sales clerk indicates the hand truck over in the corner. Oh, thanks so much. I load the pile of boxes onto the cart and rush back to the Nokane building. By now, the sales demo will be well underway. I need to get back as soon as I can. If there's nothing to buy, the customers are going to leave, and everything I've gone through will have been for nothing. Come on, Tama, you can do it. Just gotta hurry. I charge for the demo, pushing the dolly ahead of me like a battering ram. Ah, oops, sorry to keep you waiting. You're late! What the heck have you been doing? Mr. Yanagashita practically throws himself at me. The weight must have been killing him. Standing behind him is a man I don't recognize. Who is that guy? He doesn't look like a customer. Okay, Tama, just come with me for a minute. I follow Mr. Yanagashita into the break room. Sorry I'm late. There was a whole bunch of stuff that happened. But look, I got the product back. I proudly open up one of the cardboard boxes. Ah, it's Burning Hammer! It really, really is! Yanagashita clutches the box close, nuzzling it with his cheek. How's the demo going? I ask. I've got Chiri keeping them preoccupied with some magic tricks. I sneak a peek through the door and see Chiri guzzling orange juice from a gigantic container, draining it in one go. Is that really a magic trick? If it buys us time, it's magic enough. Before long, the last of the juice is gone. Over in the corner of the stage, I see 6 more huge containers, all likewise empty. It's shocking to think that she may have drunk all 7 of those things dry. The audience erupts into sincere applause, like they've forgotten what they originally came here for. Chiri comes back to the break room, positively drenched in sweat. Ugh, I think I should have stuck to doing imitations for a little longer. No, that was fantastic, Chiri, Mr. Yanagashita says. Just fantastic. Thanks to you, we had enough time to get back the Burning Hammer. He bows profusely. All right, now it's time for the main event. Chiri, go out there and guzzle down some Burning Hammer. Get yourself all drenched in sweat. Got it? Aye, aye, boss. And Tama, just go up there, all big and, smile all big and say, this helped me lose a bunch of weight too. Got it? Got it. Burning Hammer is fucking back, baby. Good. Now then, Yanagashita gestures to a man I hadn't noticed before who's waiting quietly nearby. Of course. Begging your pardon, miss. It's a service rep from the rental shop who proceeds to try to get me out of my costume. Masamichi Fukuma, employee of Far East Costume Rentals. The only son of company president Shigemichi Fukuma. He is one of the few people who know what Shigemichi looks like, as his father is usually clad in a rabbit costume. Masamichi has harbored a strong dislike for both his father and mascot costumes ever since the old man showed up at school on Parents' Day one year dressed in his inevitable rabbit suit. Nonetheless, the son has acquiesced to his father's wishes, and someday he'll inherit the family business. Oh? That's odd. The rental guy tilts his head. What's the matter? Yanagashita asks nervously. Yeah. This is a no-go. The rental guy pokes his fingers at the back of my suit. This here zipper, it's all jammed up. It's gonna take a long time to get this thing off. What the hell? Mr. Yanagashita clutches the sides of his head. The rental guy tries tugging at the costume from various angles, hoping to free up the zipper, but like he said, it's no use. Meow. The rental guy's eyes widen at the sudden sound of a cat's mewling. Was that you? He looks at me confused. Did you hear a cat meowing? Yes. Was it you? No, not me. I'm as surprised as he is. Must be hearing things. Mr. Yanagashita and Shiri don't seem to have heard anything. Bah! Mr. Yanagashita is fuming. Just my luck. I finally found a cute model and the crowd's never gonna see her. Hey, boss, Shiri says. Customers are gonna leave if you keep them waiting much longer. What do we do? Want me to go out there and do some more impressions? Chiriko's repertoire of impressions. 1. A sea lion yawning. 2. A harbor seal hailing a cab. 3. A walrus reading sutras. 4. A fur seal who can't reach the itchy spot on its back. 5. A Stellar's sea lion taking a nap. No, we don't have any choice. Tama, you're just gonna have to go out there dressed like that. Are you sure? I ask. Those people go home, we're done for, he exclaims. Just get out there and get started. I'm counting on you two. Ladies, terribly sorry to have kept you waiting. Chiri and I spring into action on stage. But now I'm proud to introduce you to the worldwide sensation that is Burning Hammer. The latest product from the West has taken the diet world by storm. Every seat in the house is packed. That means there's about 40 people here. We only need to sell 5 bottles to each customer in order to sell out. I'm hit with a sudden jolt of motivation. Allow us to explain just how revolutionary this new diet drink... Allow us to explain just how this revolutionary new diet drink works its magic, Chiri begins. The plan is for me to describe how the drink works, and then Chiri will demonstrate it with a taste test. All eyes fixed on us. I begin. For the first time in human history, you can drink a single bottle and lose a whole kilogram. Just drink and drink and burn that excess weight away. Astonished gasps rise up from the crowd. Just take a look at this marvelous red liquid. Even looking at it makes you feel like you'll be shedding weight, right? Here's how Burning Hammer works. It activates the capsaicin found in chili peppers. The primary spice component of chili peppers, said to be effective for improving blood flow and stimulating the burning of fat. Because it is a severe skin and eye irritant, it is also an ingredient in some forms of pepper spray for personal defense. I pause to take a deep breath before continuing. And, rapidly breaks down the triglycerides responsible for causing obesity. Though the term is frequently used in recent years to simply refer to the state of being overweight, obesity in the clinical sense is a medical condition involving interrelated health issues, including excess body fat, hyperlipidemia, and hyperglycemia. Individuals suffering from obesity are at high risks of complications such as coronary heart disease, diabetes, and sleep apnea. Again, the crowd hums with excitement. This response is better than I could have hoped. We're off to a terrific start. And now, this young lady here will demonstrate the burning hammer's effects before your very eyes. Cheery steps onto the spotlight. Just wait till you see how much she sweats. Proof that the fat is being burned right there on the spot. Cheery holds a bottle of burning hammer up high. Cheers, she says. As she opens the bottle, however, one of the women in the front row speaks up. Hold on. She's already sweating pretty hard. Yeah. Why wouldn't I read these like a healthcare commercial? It's totally a real health product. She's right. Cheery's drenched in sweat from head to toe. Another woman chimes in, suspicious. All of that juice drinking from earlier? That was all just to make her sweat like that, weren't it? All of a sudden, the crowd is in an uproar. No, not at all. Drinking burning hammer makes you sweat way more than this. I rush to towel off Cheery's sweat for her. Go on, hurry up. Drink it down. Cheery's face screws up unpleasantly as she gulps down the bottle. And the sweat doesn't come. God, why isn't it working? I exclaim as the audience momentarily forgotten. Guess I've already sweated out too much, Cheery replies, unfazed. Well, why were you sweating so much? Look, you were taking forever at the 100-yen shop. Oh, fuck. The crowd shifts from uproar into riot. Did you just say 100-yen shop? Scowling customers begin to close in. No, that's not it. You've got it all wrong. Please just listen. Oh, we can see what's going on here. The situation has gotten out of control. Look, this product is so valuable that 100-yen shop is about the only way we could get it. Uh-oh. I think I just put my foot in it. The customers glare at me, their eyes bright with rage. Haha, just kidding, that was a joke. Kidding. That was just a joke. I've just got to play this off smooth. I mean, seriously, there's no way you'd find something this high quality in a 100-yen shop. Sweat is streaming down my brow. Really now, says one woman in the crowd. How about we find out? She takes out her cell phone. I know someone who runs one of these stores. Wait, let's not be hasty now. What's wrong? Oh, it's just... You don't need to go out of your way like that. You said you were joking, didn't you? So it shouldn't matter if I make the call, right? Well... I slip into a nervous coughing fit. I'm absolutely sweating bullets inside my catsuit now. Tama! Shouts Yanagashita as he rushes out of the break room. What the heck are you doing? Abort! Abort! He howls. If you let these people know the truth about this stuff, they'll never buy it. Uh-oh. Now you've done it. Cheery doesn't hesitate to point the finger at him or stare ferocious. Whoops. Realizing what he just blurted out, Mr. Yanagashita is aghast. Now there really is no saving this. The customers descend upon Mr. Yanagashita, their wrath a terror to behold. So then it is true. What the hell are you trying to pull? I can't believe you tried to sell the scrap for these prices. The throng goes on the attack. Cheery and I force our way through the angry mob, hoping to find some way to calm these people down. Cursing and profanity fill the air. The shouts are accompanied by merciless, open-handed slaps. I get all jostled and tumbled about, and my mascot costume takes a bad beating. Finally, the storm passes. This whole storyline is a burning hammer incident. It's over. It's all over. Mr. Yanagashita wails to the empty room. So, boss? About getting paid. Even Cheery seems hesitant to ask. Yeah, that's not gonna happen, obviously. Yanagashita doesn't so much as look up. His shoulders slump further in defeat. I'll take the payment in kind then, Cheery says. Mind if I take this burning hammer home with me? Sure, Yanagashita says lifelessly. Go right ahead. Alright, I'll be off then. Later, Tama. Cheery picks up the cardboard boxes and heads out. Sir? It's the man from the rental place. I believe you still owe me for the costume rentals? Oh, right. How much was it again? Mr. Yanagashita rummages in his pockets. Well, given the severe damage, I'm afraid I have to add the full cost of the catsuit to your bill. Your total comes out to 200,000 yen. What's that? 200 yen? No, sir. 200,000. Hmm? Sorry, I can't hear all that. I can't hear it all. I think I might have ruptured my eardrum. 200,000 yen, sir. Okay. Yanagashita takes all the cash he has in his wallet and holds it out reluctantly. That's only 20,000, sir. The rental guy furrows his brow. I'm afraid this won't cover it. I understand that, but I don't got no more than this. Don't got no more, sir? Don't got no more? Sir, please, you're not a child. Then give me a discount. Make it 20,000. Instead of the 200 you owe? You know I can't do that, sir. But Mr. Yanagashita refuses to back down. Ah! That's right. Insurance! I got insurance in the event the suit wound up damaged. No, you didn't. No, I did. You did not, sir. No, I did! Then where's your paperwork to prove it? Yanagashita calmly claps a hand to his chest. Right here. The paperwork is here inside my heart. The rental guy clutches the sides of his head in exasperation. And believe me, I feel his pain. You know what? Never mind. I'm gonna leave this to my boss. Shigemichi Fukuma, the president and owner of Far East Costume Rentals, notable for the fact that he's usually wearing his favorite rabbit costume. To Shigemichi, his costumes are like his children. If he were to hear that one of his suits had been ruined, he would probably never forgive Yanagashita, adding to the man's already considerable list of enemies. Turning his back on the ruins of the sales demo, he slumps his way out of the room. Now it's just me and Mr. Yanagashita. Please try not to let it get you down so much, sir, I say as cheerfully as I can muster. He's already down on the floor, a sobbing mess. You wouldn't know what it's like. It feels so utterly hopeless. I think I might have an idea, sir. In fact, I'm sure of it. At this point, there's nothing more that I could possibly do. He slumps forward, trembling like a willow tree. Things will turn around soon enough, I'm sure. You don't know me like I know me, he says. There's not gonna be any turnaround. Not after this. Okay, now this little pity party is starting to piss me off. You know, if you think you're the only person who's had a run of bad luck, you're dead wrong. I wind up shouting the words louder than I intended. Mr. Yanagashita whips his head back up. Yikes! Where'd that come from? I need to tell you something. My pent-up emotions come surging to the surface. I have amnesia! Yanagashita's eyes go wide. What? I can't remember anything from before this morning. In short, amnesia. Amnesia can have a variety of causes. Psychogenic amnesia is caused by stress or psychological trauma, whereas in endogenous amnesia, a powerful blow to the head causes physical trauma to the brain. In the latter case, memories and other normal functions frequently return once the cranial nerves recover. My name, how old I am, where I live, any of it. I would much rather be in your shoes, sir. Mr. Yanagashita looks at me with a hint of disbelief. So where'd you get the name Tama, then? I thought of it when I saw the tamagoyaki in those lunch boxes. Ah! Tamagoyaki, Tama, I get it. He claps himself on the thighs as if he's had some big eureka moment. But wait, how come you lost your memories? Well, I don't know for certain, obviously. I don't remember. But I'm pretty sure I took a hard blow to the head. When I came to, I was inside of a storehouse with a massive headache. Storehouse? It is Maria. A surge of vertigo washes through me as I recall waking up in that strange dim place. It's gotta be Maria in there. Yeah, I had just gotten out of there when you flagged me down, sir. Huh? Really? So it is pretty unnerving then, not knowing who you are? He sounds like he's taking you seriously now. Yeah, it sure is, but it's not going to do me any good just to fret over it. And besides, I've got a clue. What sort of clue? There's a necklace I saw at a knick-knack shop, the same place I found the burning hammer. Somehow I know that it's important to me. And so you took this job so you could afford to buy it? I nod. Of course, now that the job has ended in a total bust, I've lost my shot at getting it. Okay then. Mr. Yanagashita removes his shoe, then yanks out the insole. This here really is the last of my money. He pulls out 20,000 yen and adds it to the other 20,000 yen from his wallet and thrusts it all toward me. Here you go, he says. That includes the reimbursement for the burning hammer you picked up. I pluck up 2 of the 10,000 yen bills between my fingertips. I actually didn't have to pay for it, so the 20,000 we agreed upon is fine. But how about you, sir? Are you gonna be okay? Like, after all this? Compared to your misfortune, mine are nothing. They might send me up the creek without a paddle, but I'll bounce back somehow, I'm sure of it. And then, clutching his fist, Mr. Yanagashita gets a far-off look in his eye. And then, one more time, I'm gonna go see a bride fight. My jaw nearly drops. Bride? Like the martial arts pub? Wait, you know about Bride? Man, you've spent so much money. Man, I've spent so much money at that place. Oh my fucking god, bro. Ah, eating a burger with no honey mustard. Wow, it is a small world. Especially that Miku. I wonder how much she has made me spend. Miku, huh? I'm pretty sure I just accidentally forced her into retirement, but I decided to keep quiet on that front. He nods. To be honest, the reason I borrowed all that money was to pay my tabs at that place. And I had to borrow from some pretty shady sources too. Can't help but suspect that this poor guy got a real raw deal. Why did you take that mascot costume with you? Huh? I mean, I don't really need it. No, I insist. Take it with my blessing. Sure. I'll be on my way then. Out in the hallway, I passed by the man I'd noticed earlier, the one I didn't recognize. Odd, the sales demo's over. I wonder why he's still here. I give him a faint nod, and he nods back before slipping into the demo room. I should keep my fingers crossed for the guy. At last, I'm back outside the building. I feel bad about not returning the catsuit to the man from the rental place. Still, I can't just walk around the town wearing this thing. I'll stick out like a sore thumb. I figure it's best just to leave it behind. And then it dawns on me. Hold on, I still can't get this thing off. Guess this cat's staying in the bag. A popular folk etymology asserts that the expression, let the cat out of the bag, comes from the unscrupulous practices of certain farmers, who would sell a pig at market only to deceive the buyer of surreptitiously swapping out the purchased porker for a cat. The likelihood of anyone mistaking a cat, even one inside a bag, for a pig is, however, extremely low, let alone the likelihood that enough people would fall for such a scheme to warrant a phrase referring to it entering the language. I figure I'll head to the knick-knack shop as is. Ooh. I wonder if this has affected anything with Kano's timeline. Doesn't seem like it. Maybe. I don't know. Lots and lots of keep outs. I do have 3 jumps from Tama. As luck would have it, they soon found a crowd in their path, backs turned towards them. Excited voices rose up from the throng. Whoa, what's the deal? Is something going on? It's a street fight. A fight, as the name implies, that takes place out on the street, typically using bare hands and no weapons. Even a barehanded fight can result in serious injuries, though, which is why they're pretty illegal. Achi clutched Totomi's hand good and tight. Whatever you do, don't let go. Without a moment's hesitation, he plowed his way through the crowd. Emerging on the far side of the gathering, Achi saw the main road ahead. Cars were zipping past in a steady stream. What do we do? There were too many cars for them to rush across the street without getting hit. With but they couldn't exactly just sit and wait for the light to change. They certainly couldn't go back the way they came. Their pursuers were getting closer and closer. "Hitomi!" Achi shouted. "We're going across!" What? Oh shit. Dragging Hitomi by the hand, Achi darted out onto the street. Moving purely by instinct, he wove his way through the gaps between the speeding cars. When they were halfway across, a car slammed on its brakes to keep from hitting them, causing several cars behind it to crash into one another. The multi-vehicle pileup plunged the roadway into total chaos. As a result of this chaos, traffic in the nearby area will be at a standstill for a while. While on their way to the Syndicate hideout, Shinya Kano and Jack Stanley have gotten caught in this traffic jam. Let's jump back and see what this did for Kano. The car moved at a glacial pace towards the crime syndicate's hangout. Stanley pounded his fists on the steering wheel in frustration. They had no sooner set out than the traffic slowed to a near standstill. Despite the occasional lurch, it never crept above a crawl. Kano stewed in the passenger seat. The case was rapidly getting out of hand. Now he had to worry about the safety of both Maria and her sister, Hitomi. Never mind the fact that Detective Tateno had also gone missing. There were too many unknowns, too many uncertainties. His unease was growing unbearable. Also, Tateno hasn't radioed in, and we can't reach him from our end either. Jose's words kept echoing inside Kano's head. And what could have caused Tateno to drop out of contact? Someone had gone after Hitomi while Kano and the others were busy trailing the attaché case. Could Tateno have been... No, it couldn't be. Kano was sure Tateno would have done whatever was necessary to keep Hitomi safe. Stanley broke the long silence. "What's on your mind? Still thinking about that call from Kuze?" Kano didn't answer. "Look, if you're worrying about that other detective, the guy couldn't even protect the girl." Stanley continued. "Not exactly a ringing endorsement. Don't you talk about Detective Tateno that way. I'm concerned about Hitomi Osawa, but the missing attaché case needs to come first." Stanley's expression remained stone cold. Kano flashed him a sidelong glare, then went back to staring out the window. A moment later, a flurry of motion in a nearby alley caught his eye. With a start, he recognized Sasayama. His fellow detective was caught up in an altercation with a man in dark clothes. Kano sprang into action, his body moving almost before his mind registered the situation. "Sasayama!" Flinging the door open, he leapt out of the car. "Hey, wait!" Stanley called after him, but Kano was already sprinting toward the fight. "Ooh!" The other man knocked Sasayama into a pile of garbage. As Sasayama struggled to get back to his feet, his opponent looked down at him with a triumphant sneer. Kano finally got a good look at that man, and his eyes flashed with recognition. It was the perp who'd first taken the attaché case back at the Scramble, Tariq Al-Karawan. "You!" Kano growled. He sped like a bullet to tackle Al-Karawan around the legs. But Al-Karawan nimbly stepped aside. Kano's arms closed on nothing but air. At the same moment, Al-Karawan deftly wrapped an arm around Kano's neck. Kano felt a vice-like pressure on his carotid artery. A move known as the front choke sleeper hold. Constricting the carotid artery stops blood flow to the brain, causing the opponent to lose consciousness. Also known as a guillotine choke. guillotine choke, however you want to pronounce it. His consciousness quickly began to slip away. "Oh no, you don't, you bastard," he snarled. Lowering his center of gravity, he got a hold of one of Al-Karawan's legs and used his shoulder as a fulcrum against it. Despite the arm still crushing his neck, Kano managed to lift his opponent high into the air. He continued the movement to heave Al-Karawan up and over himself, slamming him upside down into a heap of trash. Stanley strolled up to the aftermath of the struggle. "Well, you've got the brawn part down," he said. "Need some work on the brains." Al-Karawan was sprawled out atop the mound of refuse. He'd been knocked out cold. Sasayama coughed and sputtered. Kano went to help him to his feet, but Stanley stepped in between them. "What are you doing?" Stanley asked. "Helping Sasayama. What does it look like?" "We need to apprehend Al-Karawan first." "He's not even conscious. Sasayama can come first." He pushed Stanley aside and crouched down alongside his partner. "Are you all right?" he asked. "Yeah," Sasayama groaned. You bailing me out, though. I can't let the missus know about that." "Mum's the word," Kano said. He slipped an arm underneath Sasayama and helped him to his feet. "I managed to find the guy who had the attaché case," Sasayama said. "But when I tried to arrest him, this fella came out of nowhere and attacked me." He flashed Al-Karawan a nasty look. "So here we go again, disobeying direct orders," Stanley huffed. "What's the deal with Japanese police anyway?" He shook his head in exasperation. Sasayama gave Kano a puzzled look, jerking his thumb at the American. "Who's this guy?" "It's a long story," Kano said. He filled Sasayama in on the situation. "Enough chit-chat. Hurry up and cuff this guy," Stanley said. Kano knelt down by Al-Karawan's unconscious body, flipped him over, and proceeded to cuff his hands behind his back. Kano paused. Al-Karawan's sleeve had slid back from his wrist. "What's this?" The unconscious man had a tattoo of a two-headed scorpion on his left forearm. Stanley strode over. "You find something?" he asked. "Yes, I think this guy might be the ringleader." Seeing the image had reminded Kano of something he'd heard back at headquarters, that the head of the foreign syndicate had a scorpion tattoo. He relayed this information to Stanley. "I see." Stanley called up Kuze on his cell. "You'll be happy to know that the guy with the attaché case is still at large," he said. "Apprehending the ringleader at this point shouldn't be an issue. One of your so very capable subordinates gave us a big step forward in the case here." "Wait a second," Sasayama murmured. "That was sarcasm, wasn't it?" Stanley hung up and called over to him. "Think you can escort this guy back to the precinct?" "Yeah, sure, seeing how very capable I am." Kano felt his phone vibrate. The display showed an incoming call from Rumi. "Hello? Hello?" he answered warily, keeping his voice down. Stanley had him a little on edge. "It's me." "Wait, no. It's me." It was Shizuo. Damn it, Kano thought. He did not have time for this right now. But if he just hung up, he might be in even deeper hot water. Kano. Kano decided he better listen to what the old man had to say. "Hello, sir. I'm afraid I'm not really at liberty to take a personal call right now, even if it is from my father-in-law." He did his best to sound apologetic. "I'm not your father-in-law." "Ah, yes, of course. Sorry, sir." He bowed his head reflexively, feeling like an idiot. "You really don't give a damn about keeping me waiting like this, do you?" I swear to you, I feel terrible. Please, Flustered, he took a deep breath and recomposed himself. I promise you, sir. I promise I'll be there. If you can just wait a little while... Don't make promises you can't keep. Shizuo's barking rebuke made Kano break out in a sweat. You think I'm gonna let you off the hook just because you're working a case? This is exactly why I don't want my daughter with some detective. Great, another angry tirade. But didn't you used to be a detective, sir? Kano muttered. You watch yourself, you little brat. It's not enough that you keep calling me your father-in-law. Now you have to bring that up? Evidently, Kano had touched a raw nerve. Ever have a dentist hit a nerve while drilling a tooth? Yup. That's where this expression comes from. Seems like anything he said only made matters worse. Well, you're not off the hook. Well, you're not off the hook, Shizuo continued. I'm never letting my daughter marry the likes of you. His fury hitting its crescendo, Shizuo promptly hung up. Why on earth did Shizuo hold such intense malice towards the police detectives when he'd been one himself? Kano had become a detective for Rumi's sake in the first place, and now it was the biggest thing holding him back. Hey, come on, let's go. Stanley's voice snapped Kano out of his daze. Grimly, he followed the American back to the car. Yet again, Stanley was thumping the steering wheel in frustration. Traffic hadn't let up one bit. It was starting to look like they might never make it to the Foreign Syndicate's hangout. Kano caught sight of a girl in a hoodie, heaving her way between stopped cars on foot. He rolled down the window and called out to her. Miku Morita was a fighter at the cosplay fighting pub Bride, but just decided to retire after losing to Tama the cat in a street fight. She's thinking about what to do with herself now. Excuse me, miss? Did something happen? Huh? What do you mean? With the road, I mean. What's with all the traffic? Oh, right. Apparently there was some big accident over by the train station. That's probably what's causing it. Really? Yeah, I don't think you guys are going to be going anywhere for a while. She smiled and went on her way. Stanley gave the steering wheel another punch. Well, I guess they did say this wasn't some typical ransom case, he muttered. Kano saw an opportunity. They're not after the money, then what are they after? Stanley kept his eyes forward, acting as if he hadn't heard. Look, Kano said. I can't help you if you keep me out of the loop. After a few moments of thought, Stanley replied with a single monosyllable. Drugs. Uh-oh. YouTube, what are you doing? Please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. Currently, keyframes are not being sent often enough, which can cause buff. I hope the YouTube stream is still okay. But I don't know why it's doing this now. You know what? We just have to deal with it, I think. Well, there's also the YouTube stream that says it's buffering, but now it says it's healthy again, so let's continue. Drugs. What? Maria's father, Kenji Osawa. I assume you're aware he works for Akoshi Pharmaceutical? I am. Nothing's been made public yet, but Osawa recently oversaw the development of a new drug. It is not all uncommon for a new drug to be in development for 15 years or more, with expenses totaling 20 to 30 billion yen, roughly 200 to 300 million US dollars before it is approved. Worldwide demand and sensational profits can be expected if a groundbreaking medicine is developed. Nonetheless, pharmaceutical companies are often under major pressure due to the tremendous costs of labor and equipment. And someone is trying to get their hands on it. Kano's mind latched onto this new information, trying to assemble the pieces of an evolving puzzle. Someone? Who? An international criminal mastermind. This foreign syndicate is merely a tool in someone else's game. Kano regarded Stanley's face carefully. He looked more cold and serious than ever. So wait, does that mean that the reason we're letting the syndicate walk around unfettered is on my orders? Yes. I see. So the only thing you're really concerned with is catching this international mastermind? Precisely. Kano felt like he was starting to get a picture of what sort of person Stanley was. So you don't really care what happens to the girl who's been abducted, do you? Not particularly, no. Why, do you have a problem with that? Kano clenched his fists. His hands were shaking with anger. Dictum number 8. When you really want to punch something, you really probably shouldn't. Kano recited the words inwardly like some sort of desperate mantra. If he didn't manage to calm himself down, he was liable to slam his fist right into Stanley's face. Outside the car, the traffic remained at a standstill. Kano chafed against a feeling of utter futility. One after another, his uncertainties came to nag at him. Was Maria still safe? What had happened to Hitomi and Hiteno, her bodyguard? And now on top of all this, it struck Kano as rather careless to send Sasayama away with all Karawan without any backup. Now that Jack had alerted him to the presence of a dangerous international mastermind still on the loose. Fighting back his fit of pique, Kano got out his cell phone. To do something impulsively out of irritation, resentment, or the like, similar to doing something in a huff. He dialed up Detective Kajiwara, who was stationed at the Osawa residence. He hoped a little more information about the family's 2 daughters might shed some light on the situation. The detective answered promptly. Kajiwara here. Hey, it's Kano. Kano? A horrid, jarring beeping was audible from the other end of the line. What's that noise? Kano asked. Sorry, hold on. I can't really hear you. Okay, go on. It sounded like Kajiwara had moved away from the source of the noise, though Kano could still hear it faintly in the background. He explained that he was looking for more info on the Osawa girls. Honestly, Detective Kano, I thought you were more mature than this, Kajiwara said disapprovingly. Come again? Kano said, bewildered. What's with the attitude all of a sudden? You've got a little crush, don't you? Kajiwara told him. What? No, Detective, that isn't why. You mustn't let yourself get personally attached to an investigation. Still, I was young and impulsive myself once. I guess I can tell you one thing. Kano kept his cell phone pressed tight against his ear. 2 girls? They look exactly alike. Kajiwara kept his voice low, as if he were revealing a major secret. But Kano knew this already. Everyone assigned to the investigation had been informed that the girls were twins at the previous night's briefing. However, Kajiwara continued, still sotto voce, their personalities are pretty different. The younger sister Otomi is quiet and reserved, but Maria's apparently more of a busybody. Ah, I see. Kano thought back on Hitomi, standing in front of the statue of Hachiko. She had indeed seemed like an introvert, though Kano had also sensed her intense commitment to helping her sister. Perhaps she was less demonstrative, but her heart certainly seemed to be in the right place. Why? Kano heard someone shouting in the background wherever Kajiwara was. What was that just now? Mr. Osawa, the girl's father. I think something might have happened. Kajiwara's voice was laced with concern. I should go see what this is all about. Yeah, probably. But Kano, tell me... Yes? Which one is it? Which one do you have a crush on? Kano hung up. At long last, traffic began to move again. Almost as soon as it did, however, Stanley had to slam on the brakes. The abrupt stop made Kano smack his head against the windshield. Hey, what gives? Look, Stanley said. He gestured with his chin. Oh, shit. Kano couldn't believe his eyes. There, walking along the sidewalk ahead, was Al Karawan, very much not in custody. What the hell? Kano shouted, already hopping out of the car. Stanley was right behind him. They crept up on their target as silently as possible, then rushed him once they were close. In a moment they had subdued him. Kano used his own body weight to hold Al Karawan down. What are you doing out here? He demanded. Whoa, hey, guess you didn't get the memo, huh? Al Karawan flashed a coy grin. They let me go. Let you go? I think your buddy here might have problems hearing, Al Karawan said to Stanley. I'm a free man. Kano turned and glared at Stanley. What is he talking about? No idea. First things first, they get this... Wonder why it's doing this. No idea. First things first. Get this guy back to the precinct. I'll head to the syndicate hangout by myself. You don't think this is weird? Kano asked. I mean, what the heck is this guy gonna do on the... What the heck is this guy doing on the loose again? What matters is that he is free. Maybe he's telling the truth about being let go. But that's ridiculous. Then I guess he must have escaped on his own, Stanley replied. In either case, your buddy screwed up royally. Now it's on you to unscrew things. None of this sat right with Kano, but the fact remained that he couldn't just let Al Karawan go. He gave Stanley detailed directions to the hangout, and then the car sped away towards the Yoyogi. Then Kano headed back to the precinct with his captive, trying to reassure himself that he might learn something from questioning Al Karawan that could help resolve the case. Kano sat opposite Al Karawan in the interrogation room. He'd been attempting to interview the suspect for about a quarter of an hour. Al Karawan sat a ramrod stiff, not responding to any prompts or questions. What time is it right now? He asked. They'd taken away his watch, his wallet, a small knife, and his keychain. This was the third time he'd asked to know the time. Why are you so concerned with what time it is? Kano asked. Al Karawan gave no reply. Are you waiting on something? Again, the suspect was staunchly silent. Kano wasn't sure what to make of this, but he took a look at his watch. It's around 2 o'clock, he said. What time exactly? It's 2:18. 2:18? And how many seconds? Look, just cut the crap. Kano grabbed the prisoner by the collar. What the hell are you people after? Al Karawan merely repeated his question. What time is it right now? With a growl of aggravation, Kano shoved his wristwatch in Al-Karawan's face. Ah, it's 2:20, Al-Karawan said. Okay then, that should do it. What? What does that mean? Why is it doing this darkening thing? The interrogation went on for several more hours. Despite Kano's best efforts, however, Al-Karawan said nothing more. During all that time, the case continued to develop in unexpected ways. But Kano, stuck in the investigation room, knew nothing about it until everything was already over and done. Oh wow. Questioning Al-Karawan. What? Okay. I think I'm gonna have to end it off there for tonight, because I really need to piss. So I'm just gonna make this brief and prompt. Thank you all so very much for coming to the stream tonight. It's a real pleasure having you all here. I hope to see you all next time, whenever that is. And I hope you all have a great night. Take care and good night, everybody. Bye-bye. Oh, I gotta piss.